Hey everyone! Today I'm swatching and testing out these Beam Handmade Watercolor paints. I've been eyeing these for a while and I'm really excited to finally try them out. I'll be swatching these on Arch watercolor paper since that's what I use for most of my paintings. On my swatch cards, I have the pigment on the top left and the paint name right beside it. What's really neat about these paints is there is no plastic in the packaging at all. Even the full-size pans are wrapped in natural materials. Plus, the ingredients are natural, making them safe for kids. I know my daughter and I sometimes get paint on ourselves. Sometimes we even put our hand right into it without even realizing it. So this is a huge plus for us. So I also added a black line to test transparency. The black line will show us whether the paint is more opaque or transparent, depending on how well we can see the black line. I'll also test how well I can lift the color once it's dry. This is really important for layering or removing paint if you want to. Okay, let's take a look at the white. Of course, the white really isn't noticeable. But let's test the transparency for fun. As expected, it's opaque. It seems to swatch just like other whites I've used. Let's move on to the sky blue. It's really a lovely shade of blue. Since it contains a white pigment, you'd anticipate being opaque even before testing it. On to ice blue. This one has a really nice, cool undertone. It also contains the white pigment. So the lilac is a soft and delicate purple. It has the same white pigment as the previous colors. The last three shades really remind me a lot of gouache. What do you think of this lilac? Next is the Almost Night. It's a really deep, rich shade with impressive saturation. Even with just a tiny amount of paint on my brush, it delivers strong pigmentation. However, it's a bit tricky to clean out of the brush. I had to use some brush soap. Okay, now we're on to Glacial Rivers. This is a really beautiful icy blue. It has mica powder, so it has a really nice sheen to it. I really like this one. Now that we have swatched the first 6 colors, let's check how much they lift off the paper. Many aren't very permanent, which can be an advantage if you want to lift paint for highlights or make corrections. On to the remaining 4. So the Prussian blue is a classic deep blue with strong pigmentation. It's really nice. Now the violet. This is incredibly vibrant. This might be one of my favorite colors so far. Possibly even one of the best purples I've ever used. I think I might end up buying a pan of one of these. Great Ocean is a really nice shade of blue. It doesn't have as much pigment as the other blues included in this set. Okay, on to the last one, Wild Rose. This is really a beautiful pastel color. I'm excited to see what our daughter will do with this color, and if she doesn't use it, I will. Now on to see how much they lift. So the Prussian blue lifts somewhat. Now the violet seems to be quite permanent, another reason to love it. The Great Ocean lifts easily and the pink does as well. Knowing this will help me plan my painting for this video. Now let's see how some of these colors look together. Now I have a feel for the colors, I'm going to paint something small. I have decided to paint orchids. The reference photo I took is of a white orchid plant. So I'm going to improvise on the colors. For the painting, I'm going to use my favorite colors, Almost Night and Violet. Because the blue lifts easily, I'll use a soft brush and lightly apply water over the dried paint to create shading and fine details. According to the Beam Paint's website, all these colors are light fast. However, they don't specify the exact degree of light fastness for each shade. That's something to consider if you're creating archival paintings or sending work into galleries. Over time, colors can fade due to humidity, light exposure, and heat. But if you're making art for fun, practice, or to make prints, fugitive or non-light fast paints can still be great to use. It really depends on what the purpose of your piece is. So here's sort of a fun story. My daughter is a painter herself, and she actually won a children's art contest where these paints were the prize. She suggested I test them out first and paint a small picture. I've been using Winsor & Newton paint since I was a teenager, so I'm super used to how they perform on paper. But these are made with natural ingredients, which makes them really intriguing. Since this palette doesn't include green, yellow, or orange, I'll add Winsor & Newton's Professional Burnt Sienna, which should mix nicely to create green for the stems and to add a pop of color in the middle of the flower. This will also be a great opportunity to see how well these colors blend. Speaking of painting, we actually just set up a solo show for my watercolor paintings the other day. It was a lot of work, but I'm really excited about how it turned out. The show is all about the personalities of birds in our area. Here's a little video of the final setup. We did tweak the positioning of the frames a little afterwards, but overall this is how it looked. While swatching, I noticed that the Almost Night pigment, BP 15.1, is actually the same pigment found in Winsor & Newton's Winsor Blue, the green shade. It's such a beautiful and rich color, and I definitely would have used it in my show if I had it earlier. I couldn't find any information on the website about which colors are granulating, but the blue seems to show some slight granulation compared to the purple. There's still plenty of paint left for our daughter to use in her own paintings. I know she'll love working with the pastel shades. The colors perform well on slightly damp paper, which is great for adding details that aren't too sharp. So that's my first impression of Beam's Handmade Watercolors. I love how natural and sustainable they are, and the colors are beautiful. What's your favorite color from this set? Let me know in the comments. Mine is definitely the Almost Night shade. It's just so rich and deep. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.